Okay.
Miko.
That's a good shout in chat. The American gods. Jan, you should change one of them to American gods, and then in parentheses, the presidents. I would love to see Kratos just murking some presidents. You know what I'm saying? Nobody clip that. Do not send that to the US government.
Their timing is incredible.
Chat just came up with a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Someone did anyway. Someone said, what about the American gods, which I am interpreting as the presidents of the United States.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Let's do it.
That's a great one.
Yes, that's fantastic. Okay. All right, everybody. We are going to fade to black and count in starting right now. 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for August 18th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Sony is probably going to make another God of War, and Call of Duty is finally official. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Timur Hussein, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
You know, Jeff, I've been better, but it's Dregs Day. I'm going to do my best to raise the spirits, but I'm going to be coughing my way through this.
My understanding is you are the 4-time COVID champion.
I am the 4-time COVID champion. No one can come for my belt because nobody wants to come for my belt. No one wants it.
Everybody is giving the belt a wide berth.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm the 4-time COVID champion. Everyone goes, yep, hopefully it stays that way.
Damn, how you doing, bud? That fucking sucks. That's insane. I'm so sorry, man.
It's not great. I have to say it repeatedly, but like each time has like fundamentally changed my body in a way that it hasn't recovered from. Like I have, last time I got it, I got fatigued pretty badly, and now I've got perma fatigue. So I've just got a lifelong debuff now. That's what COVID is for me. Someone coughs a lifelong debuff, and now I have this cough, which is like, I'm hoping it will go away, but so far it's been quite severe. Like yesterday, I had to I went to lay down to sleep, and the coughing was so bad. I just was like, I just have to sit up and let this play out until there's like a pause so I can try and fall asleep again.
Yeah, see, that terrifies me because I'm when I get like just a normal cold, I cough for like months, literally afterward.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't think I've had COVID yet. Somehow, some insane way. Apparently, all the COVIDs I was getting, I just gave to you instead. Is like how I think it worked.
I've been taking the hit. Yeah. And people are like, I tweeted about this just to explain it because like I was on a bunch of things yesterday and I was coughing a lot, and I was like, that probably sucks to kind of see and watch and listen to. So I explained it a bit, and everyone was like, well, it's your fault for not masking up. And I was, I took it very seriously. Like I took COVID.
Yeah, but also it's not how it works. Like I still don't get how people like masking is protecting other people. Everybody, guys, come on. Yeah. It's been 3 years. Catch on, like catch up. We're grow up. In fact,
we figured it out.
Yeah. Okay. But either way, Tam, I'm glad you're up and at 'em and you're recovering as much as you can. But man, I'm sorry about that. That really stinks.
So gravy, baby. Let's do it. It's Dregs Day.
It is Dregs Day, Tam. As a present to you, I'm coming off a cold shower and I'm fucking ready to go.
I was gonna say you look great.
Thank you.
You look like very smart. You look refreshed. I love it.
I want to ask you. I'm wearing it's 2 buttons. How slutty should my shirt be? Just 1 or 2? Should I do 0 buttons?
No, I think you should open 1 more button.
Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, now we're good. That does feel. I'm feeling fresh and fancy free, baby. Let's go.
Oh my god.
That's now I can do some game news.
This is some iShow speed levels of reveals. Whoa.
Next time I'm going to show some ankle meat, everybody. Look out. All right, let's get into this and explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you were watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with... There's a rumor that there's a new God of War game in development. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Big surprise, but here we go. It appears that Sony Santa Monica may already be working on a new God of War game. In a new job listing looking for a combat designer, fans have found some hints that could point to the studio gearing up for a return to the franchise. While there isn't any specific statement saying the combat designer will work on a new God of War, there is a mention that the candidate must have knowledge of God of War and God of War Ragnarok. Also, they'll be working on a new unannounced title. This is probably, Sony Santa Monica is going to make another God of War probably next, right? That still makes sense, even though, the last two were like, that's a duology and it wraps up a bunch of stuff there. They will probably just take what they did with that game and put it in a new setting, have some other ways to refresh everything and get right back into it, right?
Oh, yeah, almost certainly. Sony Santa Monica is at a stage now where I think they probably are doing like multiple titles at this point. So it wouldn't be because Corey's supposed to be working on something. Like he wasn't
he's doing his sci-fi game, right, or whatever.
Well, I don't know if there's any concrete information. Right. I don't think there is, but
a little bit. Yeah, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that leads me to, and as far as I know, he hasn't left Sony Santa Monica and set up a new studio. So they're a team where they are making something new and also holding it down by making the thing that most people know and want, and probably Sony wants as well, considering the success of Ragnarok and the God of War reboot. So this makes perfect sense. And it evolving it to the next kind of setting or whatever it may be, and figuring out new ways to approach the mechanics and that kind of stuff makes perfect sense to kind of revitalize it. If they do the exact same thing again, I think that's when it becomes more of an issue. If they had a third Norse game, I think that the idea of another God of War game would feel less exciting than
I agree.
The idea of a duology is done, now something new is happening.
Right, so, something unpredictable, right? Something. I've mentioned this before, but now I'm forgetting his name, but the guy that directs the Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, saying when he was talking about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and he was like, the difficulty here is for this kind of thing, you got to give people what they want in a way they don't expect, and that's what God of War 2018 did. And then obviously you follow that up because people do want more, but by the third game, you're gonna see diminishing returns because now it's what they want, but it's not in a way they're not expecting. So by nailing those two games and then now going back to that, resetting that a little bit and doing things that people might not be expecting, now you have a chance to wow everyone again. And that makes me wonder, is that kind of what's happening with Marvel Spider-Man 2 right now, where it's everyone knows what to expect from it, so that's why everyone's a little bit ho-hum about it. I think that game's going to be an amazing seller, but just the excitement for it right now, and maybe that's just because there's so many other games to play. But is there something else there? Are these other Sony franchises going to be in a similar situation soon, Tam, where they're going to have to look to do the kind of reset that God of War has done?
I think that there are a couple that will. I don't think Spider-Man is among them. Right. I feel like Spider-Man is a persistent world that is growing, is something that is expected from the Spider-Man IP, regardless of where you come from it. In the movies currently and previously as well as in the comics, there's always just the world of Spider-Man, and this is a new story within it. So I think in this case, moving to another villain after this latest Spider-Man is done is probably the way to do it. I'm sure they'll introduce. Yeah, I'm sure they'll introduce a new thread, in the way that they brought in Miles and now they combined them into one game. Mm-hmm. Maybe Gwen shows up in this, or maybe a Spider-Man appears from a different dimension or whatever at the end of it, hinting at that. And then that's where it goes next. I think that Spider-Man franchise doesn't need a crazy like table clear of a reset.
Yeah.
I think a franchise like Horizon probably does, or a franchise, I don't know, yeah, like Ratchet and Clank or something like that, where something more drastic needs to happen.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you where it's I think Spider-Man I think people are ho-hum about Spider-Man right now, and the second it's available, they'll be like, "Well, I love Spider-Man. I'm going to show up for this. It's going to be completely fine." Sony will see that reflected in the numbers of sales and the excitement in selling PS5s, and they'll be like, Spider-Man can be the thing we rely on, and that it could be a known quantity, and it's going to be fine almost no matter what, as long as the quality of the games is going to be there. And I think we can assume that's a safe assumption because of Insomniac. The other games, it's like, yeah, there's always that risk of the diminishing returns at a certain point. For going back to God of War and this news, these rumors, I think there's a lot of stuff that they could do with Kratos next that could be I think unexpected and exciting. But I'm like, when I think about it, it's like, they did Norse, and my mind immediately goes, okay, what would be like basically that same thing, but new and different and exciting. I go to like the Egyptian gods, the Egyptian pantheon. I think that would be fun. But is there something more exciting than that?
I mean, I think at this point, it should. My personal idea would be to do the Metal Gear Solid 2. And, in Metal Gear Solid 2, one of the best things about it was like you got to witness the legend of Solid Snake instead of make the Legend of Solid Snake.
Yeah.
You Raiden, a lot of people hate him, but like, the coolest moments in that game is when you are fighting alongside Snake or he's giving you backup. And that idea of witnessing the impact of a character from outside of it, impact that is something that I really love. I think in this game, Kratos has become a god multiple times. I think it's time for him to be the god that you are trying to hunt down or something like that. And in the process, I feel like you could still maintain his kind of current values. And the idea of discovering that the gods are more duplicitous than we realized, and they are more like evil than we realized, and flawed than we realized, could be told through the journey of like trying to get to killing Kratos. By the time you get there, you realize this dude is not all that bad, because the people who put me on this path are way worse. I don't think he needs to be evil. I still think that he can maintain the antagonist element, but also have like the kind of like protagonist that you hate, protagonist that is designed for you to feel like, oh, this guy sucks, but actually is, more reasonable than you might realize. Like, I would love to see like the gravitas of a world where Kratos is God. God.
I think that's a really good idea. I think in a perfect world where we could spend all the money required to make a game like this, but do something that is completely unexpected. I think playing as a different character and seeing that stuff. I think Metal Gear Solid 2 is the best example that would be very interesting. I think it would give people a chance to step out and understand the character in different ways. But that would be the kind of thing that would be very difficult, I think, to pitch internally. Like, they would be like, we got to play as Kratos. But, if they could get away with it just one time, I think they probably should go for it. I don't know. The idea of Kratos being like a full god, I'm like, maybe it should just be a black and white game, Black and White 3 with Kratos up there, just using his big hand, throwing little people around or something like that. I don't expect this game anytime soon. These games take years and years now. But do you think like they try to like get it out before the end of the PS5 like 2028? Is that realistic?
I think there's one more left for the PS5 generation.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they can get one out and maybe have like a transitional one as well. That's doable.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's the kind of thing that they could. Because we're 2023 right now. They, I'm sure they're spinning stuff up right as we're speaking, as this comes out. I think we get it by 2028. That sounds right. And then that's also around the time when we are hearing about the PS6 and they're moving on. All right. Let's see here. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 officially announced, launches with 16 maps from 2009's Modern Warfare 2. Some Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Activision has officially announced Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 following a week-long teaser campaign that culminated in Warzone's Shadow Siege event. This is a direct sequel to 2022's Modern Warfare 2, and that's notable because it's the first time Activision has ever done that in back-to-back years. We've talked about this a whole bunch. I might have talked about it yesterday, but just overall, they came out and they it confirmed everything, all the rumors we've heard. Basically, the big things being like the multiplayer's got all the 16 maps from Modern Warfare 2 2009 remastered for this game. There's going to be zombies. Zombies is going to have a larger sort of like element to it where it's a more open area. There's going to be new multiplayer systems. A lot of the stuff from your that you've got in Modern Warfare 2 is going to carry over. It's the campaign. You'll be able to play the campaign a week early if you pre-order the game. Things like that. So, yeah, they're going for it. But man, something about it still really feels like this was a DLC pack turned into a full game. But somehow, it also at the same time feels like a full game, right? I do like they put a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's clearly like content rich. But what's the campaign based on? Is it a new one?
It's a Modern Warfare campaign of some sort. So I think Makarov, is that the name of the character? I think he's coming back, and this is like the story's going to revolve around him. I'm just going off memory now.
Oh, so it is a new story, right?
It's a new story. It's a new story. Yes, this is not a remaster of like Modern Warfare 2's story. That's for the multiplayer mode. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That makes more sense. I was
no Russian guy. That's right. Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it does feel... I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with looking at a DLC and going, this can be much bigger. Like that. Yeah. But it does feel like that.
Yeah, I mean...
as long as you give people the amount of content that needs to justify it.
Yeah, there's like... I think that's kind of like where Call of Duty's been for a while now. And this one is just like the most bold and in your face about it, where it's like, yeah, we do these updates every year. We want to make sure there's enough content. And it's like this one, they're like... It seemed like they worked up from the bottom of like... We are making a lot of content for DLC. What if we just packaged it all together again and sold it as a full game? And here we are. I think that it's probably not going to be hurt too much by that, even that insinuation. I think people are going to show up for Call of Duty like normal. And this is almost, it could be a really good thing for the series, because Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone are in a weird place where fans aren't super happy with it. They really liked Modern Warfare 1. I can't remember the game in between. Was it a World War II game? I don't even remember anymore. Or was it Black Ops? I can't remember. But either way, like, they're not super thrilled with the state. Vanguard, thank you, everybody. They're not super thrilled with the state of Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone right now. So they can adjust a few things, put out a new game, get $70 from everybody again, and maybe make everyone happy to come back to Warzone 3.0, wherever they're going to call it. And we'll see. Tim, I was a big Modern Warfare player back in the 2009, starting with like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in 2007. But by this point, I was definitely still playing a ton of Call of Duty. And so these maps are going to be very nostalgic for me. So I'm probably going to check in on this.
Yeah, I think this is the era where I was most into it as well. So I feel like it makes sense that they're doing that. Like, they are making a big nostalgia play here, especially for multiplayer. That's where you can really leverage the history that people have with Modern Warfare and use it to your advantage, to the benefit of Warzone. I feel like it makes perfect sense, even though it might seem like they're just remaking the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, they pretty much are, but
yeah,
can you really blame them if it's going to bring back, people into it who people like us who are like, oh, I remember that map. I'm kind of into that. I wouldn't mind checking it out again.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I'm I'll at least be poking in, and that's what that's kind of what they need to be doing, because they've grown so much. There's so many people who play Call of Duty. You can't just be like, well, we'll get the new players. Like, yeah, there's a lot of young people coming up who are going to get into Call of Duty, but you got to get some of that. We got to recapture some of that old spirit to make sure that you're making enough money on these huge investments that they're making, because Call of Duty is still their primary investment over at Activision. So the growth still needs to happen, and for growth to happen, you got to maintain that foundation and get some of those players back. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beta, everything we know. This comes from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. A multiplayer beta for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has been officially announced as part of the game's wider reveal. Like in past years, the beta for Modern Warfare 3 will begin first on PlayStation, but will eventually open to everyone. Here's everything we know so far about the beta. The beta dates. The dates for the Modern Warfare 3 beta have not been confirmed yet, but a previous report from Insider Gaming said there will be multiple beta weekends taking place October 6th through the 10th for PlayStation and October 12th through the 16th for everyone else. These dates are not confirmed. This would be a few weeks later than the dates for for 2022's Modern Warfare 2, but that game also released in October and not November like Modern Warfare 3 will. To get in, Modern Warfare 3 the beta is free and open to everyone. However, people who pre-order will get early access. And what's in the beta, Activision has only said that there will be a Modern Warfare 3 beta and has not shared any details on what will be included. But if history is any indication, it should contain a selection of maps and modes. Modern Warfare 3 will launch with 16 modernized maps from 2009's Modern Warfare 2, so it's a safe bet some of those will be featured in the beta. And then don't expect your progress in the beta to carry over. That they've never really done that before. Although it'd be cool if they started. I don't know. I like the progression, so maybe not. This is the company that I think is like created the idea of the beta as a demo. Like, going back to 2007 and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I remember rushing to GameSpot to get a code, and like they were handing out thousands of codes and rushing out to get one. And
rushing to where?
GameSpot.
We were giving out codes?
Yes, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
That's like I was like, oh man, yeah. All right, I don't even remember because that was like before Twitter. And I have no idea how I found. I think I was listening to a podcast and someone talked about it, and I'm okay. I'll go get on that, and I got a code, and I played out my CRT, and I was like, man, this is really good. And then, you get to only like level 14 or something like that, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's the game I'm getting this holiday because I was poor. I can only afford a few games, so that's the one I got. But yeah, this is still that same strategy. The beta is a demo, and they'll take it from there.
Yeah.
All right. Another Steam Deck competitor might be around the corner. This is from Claire Jackson at Kotaku. If the Steam Deck or Roger Ally have caught your attention, but you said, I'd like something more Nintendo Switch-ish, first I tell you not to say the word Switch-ish. Then I tell you about a possible new Steam Deck competitor from Lenovo called the Legion Go. Portable like the Deck and Ally, it seems like it will also feature Switch-ish, and then, damn it, removable controls and a built-in kickstand. Valve's Steam Deck impressed us all with a mini PC form factor connected to one of the largest PC gaming storefronts out there, Steam, choosing to run a Linux operating system called SteamOS. However, the Deck has been somewhat restricted in what games it can run, relying instead on an impressive, though limited, compatibility layer to translate Windows games. While more than enough games run on Valve's hardware, many gamers have desired a fully functioning Windows device, which would have access to titles that Deck can't run, like Destiny 2 or Diablo 4 or Call of Duty because of the anti-cheat stuff. Asus has made an impressive and largely successful attempt to do so with the Roger Ally, but it looks like it won't be the only PC manufacturer to deliver a portable solution for PC gamers. First reported by Windows Central last month, details about the Legion Go indicated that Lenovo's device would utilize AMD's Phoenix processor to push pixels to an 8-inch display while running Windows 11. That's a whole inch larger than the Switch, Deck, and Ally. Other details like pricing and potential launch timeframe aren't known at the moment, but shortly after Windows Central's first report on the possible device, some images leaked, and it would seem the device will feature two detachable Joy-Con-like controllers with a kickstand to prop the screen up. Have you seen the images of this thing? It does look a lot like a Switch, especially when you take off the controllers attached to the screen in the middle. That's the kind of thing, Tam, that I would assume Nintendo would have a patent on. But then, I guess other things have probably done that in the past. So maybe, I don't know, maybe someone does have a patent and they're like, these companies are just going out and paying the fee to get it. But either way, yeah, I am very happy that more companies are going into this space. That's a good thing. And for one thing, it'll encourage companies like AMD to continue to make more and more efficient processors. And I think that's a great place for AMD to be focused because they tend to lose the fight with NVIDIA on the high end, but they can make a lot more money by focusing on the low end and efficiency. And that seems to be where they're aiming their resources, and that's a very good thing. Where are you at with these mini PC or these handheld PCs?
So I actually talked about this yesterday on kind of Funny Games Daily with Blessing, but cards on the table, transparency. Asus sent me a ROG Ally fairly recently, and I've been putting it through its paces, and I really like it. I enjoy that thing a lot. I've been playing it quite a bit compared to my Steam Deck, mainly because I want to put it through its paces and check it out, but also because it feels easier to move around and it's not as bulky and heavy for longer sessions. So I've been playing a decent chunk of Baldur's Gate 3 on it, which runs well, and better than well. It runs great even, and it also like plays pretty much everything else.
Yes.
So, but I do still go back to my Steam Deck now and then, and frequently find myself thinking about playing a game on Steam Deck because I'm one of those people who I like the idea of a PC in a handheld device, but I don't want it to feel like a PC in a handheld device.
1,000,000% agree.
Yeah, my only really main issue with the ROG Ally, in terms of beyond its hardware itself, there's some things there, but like in terms of the software, is that it boots up into Windows, like, and I am not a fan of that. It like there's something about that element of it that really puts me off.
Because it's bad. It's bad. Windows on a touchscreen PC with no mouse and keyboard, it's bad. It's not fun to use.
It's not fun to use, and it still looks like a Windows device, and it feels like you're like doing something illegal with it. Like, it's like weird. And like sometimes, like the things that you have to do to like on a PC to make things work when they break, I don't like the amount of times I've gone on my ROG Ally to like the speaker icon in the bottom and like hit the toggled through the various sound devices that are like it's trying to connect to. I was like, I don't want to do this, man.
Yeah, you know what it feels like? It feels like you know how like China would have like bespoke N64 controllers you plugged into your TV. Like it feels like a gaming device that came from a country that's not allowed to have gaming devices. Is what
exactly. It feels like a bootleg device.
Yes, and very powerful. It is awesome once the games are up and running and playing. But boy, I really dislike Windows. So it's like I think I'm right there. Like Lenovo, yeah, sure, get in the space. Asus, yeah, and keep like Asus has their their own skin on top of Windows, the Armory Crate stuff.
Armory Crate.
That doesn't work that great either. It's not very good software. But that is like clearly that's what they need to be focusing is put your own stuff on top of Windows, and then hopefully at the same time Microsoft sees a bit like they've already said that they're going to invest in like handheld gaming PC like versions of Windows, hopefully. But in the meantime, like Steam OS has already figured this stuff out. The Steam Deck OS is the consoleized version of this, and it's great. I think it's really great, except for the compatibility thing because it's running Linux, and even that's like getting better every single day. At the same time, I'm not like one or the other should be the only one that exists. I think I'm glad that we have both of these tracks happening at the same time. They should push each other forward, but for me, I'm glad I have both to keep testing them out. Lenovo, I'll look into it. We'll see.
I feel like it's interesting because it feels like there's a very familiar fork being created in these devices, where it's like the companies like Lenovo and Asus are basically creating the high-end PC version of gaming handheld PC game devices, where it's like these ones are beefy, they feel like a computer, they're like a little more for the technical people, and that is amazing. But I think where Valve will continue to have the edge is it appeals to a much broader audience because one, it has a name recognition, but also the experience of playing it feels more welcoming to people who don't have the inclination to be like super tech savvy or have the understanding of the lineage of PC gaming and what you need to do, the ins and outs of it. They just want almost Nintendo-like experience where they turn the thing on, it makes a nice noise, and then when you move around, it makes sense, and it's got big tiles on it, and you hit it. And I think like that's the edge that will, for now, keep Valve ahead for as long as people are trying, until someone presents an alternative to that is as welcoming and as easy to pick up and play. I feel like the Steam Deck is going to remain the market leader.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I like if someone comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I never had a PC before." There's a lot of people who've asked this question. That's why I'm framing it this way. I've never had a PC before. I've been interested in the Steam Deck, but now I see the Asus ROG Ally or the Lenovo Legion Go. Which one should I get? I'm going to almost always point people to the Steam Deck for now because it is so much easier to use and more welcoming, like you said. Of course, I'll ask, well, what are you trying to play Call of Duty? Are you trying to play Destiny 2? Is Destiny 2 like what you want to play on there? Clearly at that point, go with one of the Windows machines. But otherwise, that Steam Deck is just going to be much more friendly. But that's it's not like that the Windows ones are so impossible to use. It's just they're a little bit more annoying. And I think that people might get a little bit of frustration out there, but at the same time, I know a lot of people who have been completely fine with them, so don't want to overstate the problem. Grand Theft Auto 5 AI NPC mod has been nuked from the internet. This comes from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. In case you thought Rockstar Games' acquisition of Grand Theft Auto 5 creator group CFX.RE meant a brave new era for open modding in the hit open world game, don't worry, publisher Take-Two is still going after fan projects it doesn't like. Case in point is its recent sacking of a mod called Sentient Streets, which used AI technology to generate NPC conversation dialogue on the fly. Take-Two had the mod scoured from both YouTube and Nexus mods, leaving its creators confused and discouraged. The Sentient Streets mod, which was previously covered by a number of sites like IGN and Eurogamer, had a story that revolved around an AI-worshipping death cult and NPCs whose dialogues was randomly generated by a tool called In-World Character Engine. YouTuber user Block, who created the GTA 5 mod, said a video showing it off had over 100,000 views before it was removed, while the mod itself had apparently been downloaded over 3,000 times before Nexus Mods, where it was hosted, took it down. This is not too surprising. This feels like the kind of thing that Rockstar would have gone after in the past, and now here it is doing it again. It also feels like the kind of thing that Rockstar is probably going to want to do itself eventually. This is, AI is very new, but a world where NPCs are smart and know how to react to certain things in certain ways is definitely something that would benefit a Grand Theft Auto game. And so I just wonder if they're like, no, we're going to do that ourselves. We don't want people to get certain expectations or what. But I think it's unfortunate. Rockstar should lay off this stuff. I don't know. It's pretty stupid. You could probably still find this somewhere. It's just not on Nexus mods, so it's frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's like, it is unfortunate that it looks like a gutting of a small community, and from the outside looking in, it definitely does not look good when you purchase a team that is known for this thing and then kill the thing that they're known for. Mm-hmm. Even if the intentions are, hey, we're going to put this team to work on something that is sanctioned and official and supported by us, from the outside looking in, it does not look good. At the same time, what you said was about expectations is also kind of a major factor from their side. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm able to put myself into their shoes and think, okay, yeah, if they are making their own version of it and people have this other one to compare it to, then it does create this conversation that's difficult for them to have or control. And if they're implementing it in a new game, while that old thing exists, there's going to be an expectation of why didn't you make it so that works with this as well, and or whatever it may be. People start having a lot of issues with it, with keeping their own game and the expectations around it under reasonable degrees, while other things that are exciting are out there. So that's probably why they're doing this, but it's not great to see. I would prefer if it didn't happen, especially given that some of the coolest things that come out of, or some of the coolest implications of what a new Grand Theft Auto could be, are things that fans of the current one are making.
Yes, exactly. I expect the GTA 6 and GTA Online to look a lot like what the stuff you can find on Nexus mods and obviously the role-playing stuff.
If the RP stuff isn't somehow at the core of the next GTA, and even if it's not supported, but a thing that's possible. People have always figured out how to make RP work on GTA since San Andreas, even before that, I think. But if it isn't there, I would be extremely surprised. The success of RP is unreal.
Yes.
So,
yeah. There is some speculation that maybe this has to do with the origin of the deep learning audio and stuff like, where does that come from? Who has the rights to that? But mods flout copyright constantly. That's the whole point of mods in a lot of ways. For a lot of people, it's to put the thing I like that they could never sell in the game, and now I can go play with it. And these companies almost never try to do anything about that. So I'd be surprised if that was the reason. But it's definitely a concern for sure. But Rockstar would not be liable for that even if that were the case, because it's happening outside their purview. But whatever. All right, Sega to reveal Sonic Superstars news at opening night live. This comes from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Sonic Superstars will be launching at some point in the near future on the Nintendo Switch and multiple other platforms. To build hype for this brand new multiplayer platformer, there will apparently be a world premiere for the Blur's new game at opening night live next week. According to the show's host and hype man Jeff Keighley, Sega will be sharing some Superstars news then and there. While the game's been rated in certain locations around the world, Sega hasn't actually locked in a release date yet, so we could finally get one. Sonic will be in good company, with Keighley previously revealing there will also be a Mortal Kombat 1 trailer airing at opening night live. All that stuff, and this included, is in line with what Keighley's been saying, Tam, about how there's going to be a lot of updates on games that were previously announced. And this, I think it's going to be at this range of kind of game of like Sonic Superstars and Mortal Kombat 1, games that are just about to come out, and people, and like this is a big marketing beat, a chance for them to market. And that's what we can expect for opening night live. You're going to be there. I'm not going to. I know that you probably have some appointments to see stuff, but outside of that, do you have any expectations for opening night live beyond like Sega talking about this?
Funnily enough, like the latest episode of Spot On that Lucy and I had done and will be available today is about expectations for shows like this.
Okay,
and
yeah.
How like as a community we've allowed ourselves to kind of run away with what our expectations are for shows like this. Like we drum up something that we want to happen and then turn it into something that is going to happen, and then when it doesn't, we get very upset about it. And the whole episode is about that kind of element of it. But I don't really have any expectations beyond what is being told to me, and that's the kind of way that I approach it now. I've definitely been in the situation where I have done exactly that, especially with Elden Ring. Like I always believed Elden Ring was going to show up, and a lot of times it didn't. Now
the truth is it was supposed to, Tam, and then they just kept pushing it
exactly
back.
And it kept moving, and that was partly why I was excited, because I was like, I would know that it was about to happen, and then last minute,
and I would say it, and then it would go real bad.
Exactly. But these days I look at what people are saying. Like Keighley is, we talk about this in the episode as well. Keighley is way more focused on being like, hey, this is what it's going to be like. This is the tone. Sometimes he'll outright say, I have these games. Sometimes he'll be like, he's clearly saying, I can't tell you what's going to be there, but just manage your expectations. It's going to be updates and that kind of stuff. And these days I'm just taking that and using that as the core of what to expect. So I expect there to be updates like this on a bunch of games, on MK, on Sonic, probably some other ones that will be somewhat of a surprise. And if I get those, I'm already excited about it. We're going to see Alan Wake. That's pretty awesome. Like I'm excited about that. There's a few other games that are likely to pop up. If we get a major announcement or a major surprise beyond that, I'm excited. That is like a cherry on top of something that over that I'm already enjoying, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I think Keighley's shows are in a place, we talked about this yesterday, but I'm interested in how you feel about it. He's in a place where I think he knows people are going to watch. There was a time where he had to sort of, whatever he had, he was just like, no, we have like 30, 40 games are going to be there. And then people would be like, okay, well, let's start trying to figure out what that is. And then they'd get their hopes way up because, you know, 3 of them were big deals and the rest were kind of things we knew about.
Never say a number. Never say a number.
Yeah, right. And I think he's at a point where I think he knows that, right? And he seems to be at this happy point where people come to these shows now because Jeff Keighley's putting on a show. And you know there's a chance that could be exciting, or at the very least, it's a fun reason to get everyone together and watch together on Twitch or however you're going to consume it. And so I don't think he feels the need to make those big promises anymore. And I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. It helps manage, like we said, what people expect from it to a degree. And it creates a good diversity of the kinds of shows that he's making. Like we know that now Gamescom, where Opening Night Live happens, is likely to be the show where he does updates.
Yeah.
And Game Awards is where he's gonna pop off and show like the big thing, that he's worked all year to secure. And I think that helps us in a major way as well.
Yep, and I, there could always be like other weird surprises. Like AMD's probably gonna announce their new GPU there or whatever. So, yeah, there will be things to talk about. It's just it might not be God of War, 3, or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Sega has successfully acquired Rovio. This is from My Nintendo News. Sega has announced today that their acquisition of mobile video game maker Rovio has been successful. The Finnish developer is best known for its ultra-successful Angry Birds series of games, which initially took the world by storm due to its simplistic and addictive gameplay. Tam, I forgot that they did this. I completely forgot that Sega acquired Rovio.
I forgot that they were trying to acquire Rovio.
Yeah. It's actually a good fit in my brain. That for some reason, like Sonic and the Red Bird from Angry Birds occupy the exact same spot. Like they are. I mean, they should be buds.
Take Angry Birds, but replace it with Sonic doing his spin dash.
Yeah,
and flick him into like I don't know, fucking piles of Robotniks.
Yeah, piles of cute animals. Yeah,
exactly. And you're golden, easy, makes Prince money.
Something about it. It's just like it feels right. Rovio's like always kind of struggled to figure out what to do after Angry Birds. But now they can be like, we'll just Rovio up a bunch of Sega stuff, and that's fine.
I mean, they did Angry Birds 2, and then they did that Bad Piggies spin-off.
Yeah, I do remember that.
There was the Angry Birds movie for a bit.
There was a sequel.
Angry Birds, they did Angry Birds Star Wars at one point as well.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
So they know how to work with licenses and such, but yeah.
They do one of my favorite mobile games of all time called Retry, which is no longer available, but I still have it on my phone because I always just re-download it and sideload it on there. It's just like one where you play as the plane, and it like if you hold it down, it'll spin around, and then you have to kind of like just tap it to get it to go in there. It's similar to like other early games, but I just really like it. It has really good music. Minecraft has been rated for Xbox Series X and S. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. It looks like Microsoft could be gearing up to release a native Xbox Series X and S version of Minecraft. As spotted by VGC contributor Andrew Marmo, Minecraft was classified for Xbox Series consoles in Germany earlier this month. Currently, the Xbox One version of the game is playable on Xbox Series X and S via backward compatibility. One feature that could potentially be supported in an optimized version for the game on Xbox Series consoles is ray tracing, which Microsoft has been teasing since before the platform's launch in 2020. It's weird because this was a big point of contention like during the trial about Minecraft. It doesn't have a next gen native version. That's why there's no PS5 version. There's no Xbox Series X and S version. But now it seems like that's probably going to happen. This is a game that is probably going to get announced at Gamescom. You think, right?
Maybe, yeah. I just love the idea of Microsoft being like, we have not made a next gen one. That's why we don't have a PlayStation one. And then the court's going, all right, you can buy Activision. And they're like, whoa, is that a next gen version of Minecraft?
You fell for it. The oldest trick in the book. We've always had a Minecraft next gen version. Minecraft with ray tracing looks fantastic. I really like that tech in that game specifically. I still am not convinced that that's what this is going to be. I bet it's just, hey, I think it's on Xbox Series X on the shelves or whatever.
I think a great deal of it is also future-proofing it because Minecraft is, to their mind, and historically proven, one of those like perennial things that is popular and it needs to always be around, like a Lego or even like a Snakes and Ladders, whatever it may be, like a game that always needs to be there. And they're probably starting to do the work on, hey, at some point we're gonna have to phase out the Xbox One and the architecture involved on it. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, maybe 5 years in the future, but we want to be in a position where we don't have to stress about moving Minecraft, one of the biggest games in the world for the last multiple years, to a new architecture or a new device. And the architecture, or like from what I've heard and what we've been led to believe, the moving games from Xbox One to Xbox Series X and S is not super hard. It's not like PS3 to PS4. The kind of like common architecture is good enough that they can do it without too much issue. But I think they're just probably covering their asses. And also they could probably chuck in a few things, updates, and sell it again and put it on boxes and that kind of stuff as well. But to my mind, I think the major work is probably to make sure that it's just there and available on platforms once the tide turns and they don't need to think about Xbox One anymore.
Right. The benefit of like using the same hardware, basically, more powerful hardware, but the same family of hardware between Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S is that these a lot of these games could happily keep their backward compatible version going as the main going concern for years and years. You can't do it forever. Eventually, you want to move on to native there's a bunch of reasons, I'm sure, but all the stuff you laid out there's probably the biggest stuff.
Yeah, and also like if they're thinking about like the future of like cloud gaming and that kind of stuff, it might just be like that. It's better to use like the Series X and the Series S as the foundation for some of that stuff. And if it's just on the one, it might not be as optimal as they want. So there's a bunch of like initiatives and ideas or like kind of future ideas that it could be for as well.
All right, moving on. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's Blood Moon has a secret purpose. I like this story a lot, Tam. This is from Anna Diaz at Polygon. The Blood Moon in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is one of the game's creepiest moments. Scarlet clouds paint the sky, and a ghostly aura reanimates monsters from the dead. The scene is among the scarier parts of the game, but beneath its red ooze, this event hides a practical application. The Blood Moon functions as a way to refresh the game's memory use and stop Link from pushing the Nintendo Switch to its limits. The regular, non-glitched Blood Moon rises every 168 minutes, the equivalent to 1 week of in-game time. Once the cutscene plays, enemies in Hyrule respawn, and Link gets a refresh batch of monsters to fight. Although waiting for the elapsed time is the more common method to experience a Blood Moon, it isn't the only way. Players can force a Blood Moon scene by overloading the Switch's memories. Fans have dubbed the phenomenon a panic moon because the game's uses the moon as a failsafe to stop things from crashing when players push the game's memory usage to its limits. In a previous article, Polygon spoke to Mr. Stage, an expert builder from the Hyrule Engineering subreddit. In his work, the builder explained how the game itself can be a limiting factor in what can or can't be built in the game. The builder explained to Polygon how the Blood Moon is actually used as a way to make up for the Switch's limitations. The game has a built-in memory refresher, which automatically triggers a Blood Moon once you start pressuring the game with, for example, too many objects in Link's vicinity. The Blood Moon then removes all objects around you that cause this overload and resets enemies, all because the Switch is not powerful enough. There's examples of like how people are triggering this, Tam, with like attaching like opals to arrows, using a Lionel bow that fires 3 arrows at a time and firing it all at a breakable wall. So you're breaking the wall and you're shooting all these arrows that are causing all these waterfall effects to happen because opals cause water to spread out of the arrows. And it's like once that you do that a few times and the game's like, oh, here's a Blood Moon. We're erasing all this because we just can't handle that. Tam, for me, this is an example of just really good design. If you have if you have limitations and you built it into like the lore of the game to explain it, that's cool, right?
Yeah, I thought this was like relatively well known. Isn't this the same thing that it was doing in Breath of the Wild?
It might have been doing in Breath of the Wild. I bet it's easier to trigger in this because there's so much more you can do.
Yeah, I imagine so. I love that the community has like embraced it and called it a panic moon.
Me too.
That's the real fun part of this. But yeah, it is. I mean, like, it's Nintendo being brilliant again. It was a big surprise. Good for them. Wow. Good. Nintendo did something amazing. Great.
But it's the experience of playing that game. It's like every sort of, you could tell the limitations were considered, and they're like, how can we work that to our advantage, or at least have a fun way of explaining it? And it's like, the Switch is only going to be able to have so many people on the screen at once. So this is a post-apocalyptic kind of Hyrule where there's a lot of ruins and it's like the remnants of civilization, and the game like completely embraces that, and the whole game is built around that. So it's like, God, just really well thought out from top to bottom, and this is another example of that. I'm gonna go try to cause a panic moon tonight, if you know what I mean. All right, Pikmin 4 comfortably holds on to its throne in Japan. I'm gonna keep hyping up Pikmin 4 sales because I'm excited about it. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. The latest Japanese charts are in courtesy of Famitsu, and once again, Pikmin 4 takes the crown with an additional 69,000 unit sales. Nice. This takes the game's total sales to a rather ominous-looking 666,000. Following this, we've got Mario Kart 8, of course, always still there. But that's just physical sales in Japan again. Really, really good for Pikmin 4. The game is a smash success now. It's just kind of, there's no other way to say it. They have really found their footing with this franchise, especially in Japan, but it seems like worldwide. So I'm just very excited about it.
Yeah, I'm happy that Pikmin has finally caught on.
Yes, it really, because it had not before. It definitely had not caught on. It did fine. It did okay. It's not. It was never like some failure. That's why they kept making them. But it has caught on. It's got that Switch bump, and it's really coming to its own. And that Pikmin 4, really, really love that game. Just absolutely adore it. All right, so let's see here. Then I have the last story. Open world Paw Patrol game is available to pre-order. As a parent, I'm legally obligated to point that out. I think more children's games should be open world games, Tam, because most the way kids play games, when I watch them, they're looking for sandbox, they're looking for playgrounds just to like play around in. They don't like so much care about what the game wants them to do. They have ideas about what they want to do. So I hope this game facilitates that. But also that seems like a lot. It would take a lot of time and money, so it's probably why we don't get it too frequently. I don't know. You gonna play an open world Paw Patrol game, Tam?
Hell no.
You're not down with that propaganda shit.
No, I ain't supporting no cops, whether they're dogs or not.
What was the thing? What was our new ACAB? All cops appreciate Bubsy. I can't remember what it was. All right. I got a poll. I'll bring it up here in a second. But before I do, Tam, why don't you tell people what you got going on, what's happening the rest of the week, all that stuff, where they could find you on the internet.
I'm at Tomorh everywhere. I am preparing to go to Gamescom. Thankfully, people have pointed out, should you be going to Gamescom if you've got a cough? I am COVID free.
Yes.
I have been very careful. So I just have this cough and various other things, and the doctor has been like, you might have that forever. So I can't like stop life.
Yeah. God, that sucks.
But yeah, I'm going to Gamescom, so please be excited for content around that next week. Spot On is up today, very soon, hopefully. We're doing UPF. I don't know what we're doing for UPF.
I think we're gonna play some Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer again. And I think that I have a couple slots left on my save for that. So if you want to create a character, I think you can hop in, and then maybe someone can take over Dan's Dwarf on golf as well. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you tried to play multiplayer on a handheld device?
No, I've not. No. It should work.
I might try that.
That'd be fun if you just just hop in with you can do with the Roger.
Yeah, I'll see what Roger.
Okay, I would be interested to have that happen. That'd be cool.
Should I? Is it best for me to create a new character?
For the multiplayer mode, if you are joining someone else's game, you have to create a new character. That's the way it works. Okay. Yeah, it's you are joining someone else's campaign, and you have to. Okay. Yeah, you can't just bring in a super powerful.
Will that process start when I try and join you, or
I think so?
Do I? Okay, cool.
I think so.
I don't have to do anything ahead of then.
I don't think so. Yes, I'm not exactly sure. You know what? Let's figure it out. I think because I'll tell you the multiplayer of Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing, but also it's a bit of an enigma of like how exactly does all this stuff work. So let's make that part of the stream today. It'll be fun to figure that out.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, still have the Blue Beetle there. Blue Beetle Mania. It's sweet. Me and Tam were talking about nothing but Blue Beetle before the show started. Of course. People are wild about this thing. In the meantime, though, will you use mods on your first run of Starfield? 5% said yes, so many of them. 13% said yes, but quality of life only. 82% said no. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm definitely in the yes, but quality of life only. I say that, though, we'll see. For me, it's like first run of Starfield. What does that mean? Because I tell you now, I might have zero interest in beating a game like that. I like making my own story, exploring the world on my own terms. So I might get to a certain point where I'm like, I've done that. Now let's start putting some crazy mods in here and see what happens. So, yeah, good stuff. You play with mods on the first run?
Absolutely no.
Yeah.
that's for me as someone who's like got to appraise a game to a degree and understand it. I feel like quickly modifying it to be something the developers didn't intend it to be is probably the worst way to do my job.
I would install something like Sky UI on Skyrim, but that's again, I'm not going to be reviewing a game like that. So yes. All right, a new poll that we are going to put up for your consideration. Which gods will Kratos kill next? Egyptian, Santa, Celtic, Shinto, or American gods?
American. Parentheses, presidents.
Yeah, parentheses, presidents, Jan, if you need to get that in there. Just Kratos destroying Abraham Lincoln is what I need. I need that.
That's what I need.
That'd be a good fight, I think. That'd be a pretty good fight.
I did everything right and Kratos destroyed me.
You did everything right. He ripped out my spine. God damn it. This is a dumb show we do here, Tam, and I'm very glad we do it every Friday, Dregs Day. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking with me about video games, man. You know I love it.
My pleasure. Apologies to everyone for the coffin. I'm sorry. It's just, this is how I exist now.
Yep. No apologies needed, Tam. I'm glad you were here. Glad you're
Someone just put Ben Kratos on the grassy knoll, and I just need to see that. I just need to see that.
Okay. Everyone needs a weekend, I think. I think that's what that means. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You're the best audience in gaming, despite what is happening in chat right now. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. Go see Blue Beetle. All right. Hot mic still.